Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about a recent controversy that has erupted in relation to the historical figure Prithviraj Chauhan. So we are going to discuss the details about what this whole controversy is all about, and also what information do we have about the Prithviraj Chauhan from the historical textbooks and other sources. So the context in which we are discussing today's issues is because a controversy has recently erupted around a new movie that is being filmed by being led by Akshay Kumar, a well-known Bollywood actor. In this particular movie that is called as Prithviraj, Akshay Kumar is playing the role of Prithviraj Chauhan. So the controversy has erupted because two different communities of Rajasthan, the one community is Gujjar community, while the other community is Rajput community. Both of them lay claim over the 12th century king Prithviraj Chauhan. So the Gujjar community that is represented by Akhil Bharatiya Gurjar Mahasabha, while we have the Rajput community that is represented by Sri Rashtriya Rajput Karni Sena. Both these organizations are continuously saying that Prithviraj Chauhan used to belong to their particular community. That means Gurjar is saying that Prithviraj Chauhan was a Gurjar, while Rashtriya Rajput Karni Sena is saying that Prithviraj Chauhan was a Rajput. And this is what they are demanding, that movie should actually show that to which community Prithviraj Chauhan actually belonged to. Karni Sena again also became very popular in or very infamous, we can say, in year 2017 when it was continuously protesting against the release of the movie called as Padmavati. So let us try to understand briefly what do we know about the Prithviraj Chauhan. So as per the historical text, it is considered that he ruled the region of Ajmer in the Rajasthan, present day Rajasthan, between 1177 to 1192 Common Era. Prithviraj Chauhan was also known by the other name of Rai Pithora. Overall, if you look at the area over which Prithviraj Chauhan used to rule, so the whole area is known by the name of Shapadalaksha, and the capital of this region was Ajmer, which is situated in current day Rajasthan near the Aravalli mountain ranges. Overall, the stretch of his kingdom from north to south was, in the north it somewhere began in the Thanesar region, and in the south it extended all the way to the Jahazpur, which comes under the Mewar region of Rajasthan. So what role or what importance do Prithviraj Chauhan have in the terms of Hinduism? So as per many books that has been written about him, it is believed widely that Prithviraj Chauhan was the last Hindu emperor. Why he is last Hindu emperor? Because he was the last Hindu emperor who fought against the invasion of Islamic invaders from Afghanistan, and he made a very valiant attempt to stop these Islamic invaders from coming across India and then taking a control of Indian territory. And that is why in many of the textbook or many of the books, Prithviraj Chauhan is a very great symbol of exalted ideals of both patriotism and national pride as far as the India or the Hindustan is concerned. That gives a very pivotal importance to Prithviraj Chauhan in the history of India. However, the history textbooks and the legend of Prithviraj Chauhan differ slightly and have presented a contradictory viewpoint about his life and death. So what are these contradictory viewpoints? So first of all, let us try to understand what does the legend of Prithviraj Chauhan say. So the legend of Prithviraj Chauhan basically traces back to a book that is called as Prithviraj Raso, which was written by a very noted Rajasthani poet called as Chand Bardai. The book has been written in Braj Bhasha somewhere in the 16th century. So what does this book basically say? This book basically says that it has portrayed Prithviraj Chauhan as a very great hero, and this book says that after the defeat of Prithviraj Chauhan by the hands of Muhammad Afghar, who is also known as Muhammad Gori, in the second battle of Tarai, which took place in 1192 AD, Prithviraj Chauhan was taken as a prisoner and then was taken to Ghazni, which today lies in the country of Afghanistan. If you look at this map here, this is the location of Ghazni. So Ghazni is a city that somewhere lies in the eastern Afghanistan between the famous cities of Kabul and Kandahar. So as per this story of Prithviraj Raso, the Prithviraj Chauhan was taken as a prisoner and then taken to Ghazni. When he was taken to Ghazni, actually he was blinded by Muhammad Gori, and after that he was imprisoned for a long period of time. However, one time Muhammad Gori wanted Prithviraj Chauhan to demonstrate his proficiency in the archery. And he wanted him to pierce 7 metal gong with a single arrow, because Prithviraj Chauhan was very well known for his archery, this proficiency. However, the story goes as such that instead of aiming with his arrow towards 7 metal gongs, he aimed the arrow at Muhammad Ghauri and placed his location where Muhammad Ghauri is, because he was blinded. So how did he know about the location of Muhammad Ghauri? So it is believed that by looking or by hearing his voice, he placed his location, and after that shot arrow toward Muhammad Ghauri, as you can see in this particular image, before dying himself. And in this context, in this particular book of Prithviraj Chauhan, there is very famous this part of this poem is there, where Chandabardai says that Char Baans 24 gaj Angul Aspraman Tau Upar Sultan Hai Mat Chuko Chauhan. That means Chandabardai is also trying to tell this Prithviraj Chauhan about the location of Muhammad Ghauri by giving him location. Char Baans 24 gaj. That is the way how in earlier period the people used to measure the distances. So it is like 4 char baans is 4 bamboo, and then 24 gaj, and then after that 8 fingers. So that is the overall distance. The 4 bamboo, 24 gaj, and 8 finger. After that, that is the location where the Sultan, that is Muhammad Ghauri, is seated, and that is why Mat Chuko Chauhan. That means take your bow and arrow and shoot at him. Do not miss him. And that is when Muhammad Ghauri was shot down by arrow of Prithviraj Chauhan directly in the neck, and he died. However, if you look at the viewpoint of actual historical textbook, it differs. How it differs? Because it gives a conflicting view of the death of Prithviraj Chauhan as well as Muhammad Ghauri. The historical textbook basically says that Muhammad Ghauri was never killed by Prithviraj Chauhan. Rather, Muhammad Ghauri, when he imprisoned Prithviraj Chauhan in this Ghajni district, after some time he killed him, and then after killing him, he continuously ruled for a longer period of time in the Ghor region of Afghanistan. So why do we have a conflicting view? Conflicting view comes from the point that a lot of legend about Prithviraj Chauhan that is drawn belongs to a genre that is called as Mahakavya genre. What is Mahakavya genre? Basically, Mahakavya genre is a kind of storytelling, a kind of this poetry which is very ornate and formulaic in nature. And that is why, because it is very ornate and formulaic in nature, Mahakavya genre of poetry basically has very limited concern with accuracy, and that is why we cannot consider it is to be very accurate, providing us with very accurate information. Rather, it provides very ornate, very flowery, and very exalted information about any particular historical figure. And that is why many of the textual sources, often dating to much later periods, contradict one another. The reason, one more reason, is basically because at that time, at that point in time when Prithviraj Chauhan used to rule, we have very limited literary information from that period. And however, many historical textbooks agree to that point, that indeed this Prithviraj Chauhan was a very great ruler, and he has defeated many of the smaller Rajput states in the vicinity of Rajasthan and Haryana. However, when he wanted to wage a war over Chalukyas of Gujarat, he was not very successful. He struggled a lot, and it is due to this reason that instead of expanding towards south, he keep on expanding toward the eastern side and went all the way up to the Ganga river valley, where he has a fight later with the Jayachand, who was the ruler of Kannauj in the current day Uttar Pradesh. So if you look at the overall territory over which Prithviraj Chauhan used to rule, or empire of Prithviraj Chauhan, this is the whole yellow area that you see, with Ajmer at the center or his capital. Delhi also was under his control, and in east his control goes all the way up to the current day Madhya Pradesh, the city, important city of Mahoba, and then in the west it goes all the way up to the border of India, present day India, along with Pakistan. And you can see Rajasthan, part of Gujarat, then we can say current day Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, and a part of Haryana, Punjab were also under his reign. So let us try to understand about the important events that has happened, or important battles that Prithviraj Chauhan fought. So the first important battle he fought was in year 1191. The battle is called as the First Battle of the Rhine, when Prithviraj Chauhan fought valiantly against Muhammad of Ghor, and as an end result of this battle, his army was able to decisively defeat the invading Guri Empire. The Guri Empire was led by Muhammad of Ghor. Ghor is a city in present day Afghanistan, and it was also the capital of Guri dynasty. Following this, in the next year itself, in 1192, Prithviraj Chauhan has to fight a second battle with Muhammad of Ghor, because after being defeated by Prithviraj Chauhan, Muhammad of Ghor again vowed to come back again and defeat Prithviraj Chauhan, and that is why when he built a very strong army. And next year when he came back, due to this, Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated in the second battle of Tarai, which marked a very watershed moment in the medieval history of India. Why it is a watershed movement in the medieval history of India? Because it paved the way for Islamic invasion of India, and that has finally led to establishment of Islamic Caliphate, followed by Delhi Sultanate, and the coming later on the Mughal dynasty itself that ruled up to the arrival of British Empire. So let us try to understand slightly about Guri Empire. Guri Empire was a very big empire with capital at Ghor region of Afghanistan. Guri Empire basically came into power after defeating Ghaznavi dynasty, which was a Persian empire. So after this, it continuously expanded and expanded all the way up to Iran in the west, and then came all the way and expanded up to India, consisting of modern day Pakistan, and all the way up to Bangladesh in Nudia region of Bangladesh in the east. So right from Nishapur in Iran to Nudia in West Bengal, that was the expanse of Guri Empire led by Muhammad of Ghor. So how far is the story about Prithviraj Chauhan being the last Hindu king is true? This we can trace back from a book that is published. The book is called as The History of British India by an English writer called as James Mill. James Mill in his book has divided the history of India into three parts. The first part was led by Hindu Empire, the second part was led by Muslim Empire, and the third part was led by the British Empire. So if you look at in this book, the Hindu Empire, when it crumbled after the invasion of Muslims, it was the Prithviraj Chauhan who is believed to be the last king who fought against Islamic invasion, and that is why, as per this book, he is considered as the last Hindu king. Similarly, some other books are there. One important book is that is called as the Annals and Antiquities of Rajasthan, or the Central and Western Rajput State of India. This also has been written by an English historian called as James Todd. James Todd in this book has also written and has also considered Prithviraj as the last Hindu emperor. However, if you look at more historical books, what we find out that Prithviraj Chauhan was not the last Hindu king, because many other Hindu kings, especially in the southern India, for example, belonging to Chalukya dynasty, used to rule over India for a long period of time after the demise of Prithviraj Chauhan. So this fact that Prithviraj Chauhan was the last Hindu ruler cannot be considered to be accurately and factually correct. So what we can say in conclusion, that if we try to look at the history of Prithviraj Chauhan, it seems to be a very complex and multi-layered history. And that is why to read about him in just a context of Hindu-Muslim binary is a kind of, will be a very simplistic nature, because there are very fascinating and compelling tale of valor and romance also there. For example, to give you one example, Prithviraj Chauhan not only fought the Islamic invasion by Muhammad of Ghor, he also had found a very decisive battle with Jayachand of Kannauj. And why this battle is very decisive and pivotal? Because Prithviraj Chauhan lost a lot of his army, the soldiers in this battle, and many times people say that, historians say that if Prithviraj Chauhan had not fought this battle of Kannauj with Jayachand, he would have a lot of resources to fight with the Muhammad of Ghor, and that might have changed the overall end result of war and overall history of India as well. So that is all about the controversy and slight background of about Prithviraj Chauhan. I hope you understood about this point and issues very well. Thank you very much.